Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here. Today I'm back with another review of Moon Knight, episode 4. Now, it came to my attention after the third review, I found out that this season is only going to have 6 episodes. So, yeah, at this point there's going to be only 2 more episodes until the show is done. Now, how I'm going to do the final review, I'm going to just, do a review and talk about it and recap the last episode, episode 6. And then I'm gonna, after that, the second half, it's not gonna be too long. I'm just gonna give a whole review and field report on the season as a whole and what I thought about it. So yeah, that's gonna be towards the end of the show. But for right now, let's talk about episode 4. Now, episode 4, it has 2 different types of parts. Obviously, usually shows that have the first half and then the second half. But the first half in this and the second half are completely different. And they were both unique. Now, the first half, it furthers more of the plot of the story, trying to find Ahmed's, body, which was basically a statue. And the episode started off with, I think it was it Osiris was the main council god, avatar god. He basically took Khonshu's statue and put it into this, it was like a casing, like you have bookcases and stuff. He put it into there. And you see when they pan out, there's tons of these little statues. So some people might not notice it, but for me, I was like, well, that's what happens when they're trapped into that, the stone for, disobeying the gods, console stuff. So to me, I'm just thinking, I thought they said there was 9 gods and only 2 of them were banned, and the 2 were supposed to be Khonshu and Ahmed, and the other 7 were the ones that were there. The avatars were basically speaking. So now I'm wondering, who the hell are those ones? Are all those other different gods? Because they were all in prison, so they probably did something that pissed them off. There probably was countless, well, not countless, but yeah, countless, Egyptian gods. Probably a few of them rose up, the strongest, these ones, and they concealed them, and probably those were the evil ones. And then these guys did their own thing. Ahmed went a little off the deep end, so they trapped her. Khonshu was basically helping out the humans, but they were the humans don't pray to us anymore, so why the hell should we help them out? So they imprisoned him too, and somehow he got out, which I also want to know how that happened, because, well, actually, he said he got exiled, which is weird, okay. But yeah, so that shows that there's more of them, which intrigued me. I'm like, okay, so we're going to see more of this? This is going to be interesting. And then we get into them trying to get to Ahmed's tube. We see Stephen Grant communicating with, I forgot what her name is. I think it's Layla. He's talking with Layla, and she's like, maybe you should let out Mark. And he's like, no, I can't let him out. He made a deal with me that he's never gonna come out. And she's like, so he's just gonna leave me and out of my life. Which he just says, well, wasn't he already out of your life? Which is kind of fucked. It's I get it that they have completely conflicting personalities and, I guess morals, but I don't know why they're attacking each other so much. They're still the same person. So, they have, this hatred towards each other. And he's just yeah, I'm not letting that happen. And I kind of do feel bad for her because it's well, then her husband's gone away. And the fact that he's yeah, I don't want to even be here anymore. And it's wow. So, yeah, there was that. And he's just telling him, you just let me out. We gotta protect her, but he doesn't care, obviously. And then they go to the tomb area. They're trying to, they're going to a cave area. They're trying to find out stuff, and he's having a conversation with Mark again. And Mark tells him hey, I wanted to save her and stuff like that. And then he's like, no, and this. And then Mark's like, do you like my wife? Are you into my wife? And then he didn't say it, but he also felt the same way. She was kind of feeling the same way because there's a lot of scenes in the episode where she's dealing with Steven, and even though Steven sometimes he's in situations where it'd be better with Mark, she doesn't seem to have too much of a problem with Steven being in it. And when he's talking and stuff, or he's communicating with her, she's usually smiling and seems like she's happy that he's around. He understands her and he appreciates her. So she seems like she enjoys his company anyway, which I think is pretty nice. And then he basically threatens him. He's like, hey, if you do anything to her, if you even touch her or kiss her, I'm gonna beat you up. And I'm just it's weird because it's still your same body. It's not like she's cheating or you're cheating. It's weird, but it's nobody's cheating on anybody. It's just you but I guess it's not you because it's not your own mind. And he's just like, if you do anything, I'm gonna hit you. I was just like, is this weird to see somebody threaten his own self to hurt himself simply for hitting or being attracted to his own wife, which is like, okay, whatever. But yeah, they're talking and stuff. She's talking about how much she likes him. She's about to kiss him. He goes back because, he's scared of Mark threatening him. And then he's like, he reveals to her about like the contract with him trying to take her as an avatar. And she's shocked. She's like, oh, okay, thanks for telling me. He would never tell me the truth. He's not a kind of guy that's very honest. And she's like, but you're very honest, which makes her like him even more. But she's just like wondering why he said right in the middle. And obviously it wasn't because he didn't want to. It's just that he was scared because of his other side beating him up, which is hilarious. And then he's like, you know what, screw it. He kisses her. And I was like, oh man, Mark is going to whoop his ass. And then they're going down. They're going to go down this thing to the tomb area to go, excavate to find the thing. And as they're going, Mark basically controls Steven's hand and punches himself in the face. And that shit was not only funny, but I was like, he's gonna get punished, and he got punched right. He just punched himself in the face. That was hilarious. But yeah, he gets down there. She puts a symbol on there, and it's like for her father. She's talking about how her dad was like, he was a big archaeologist and an enthusiast, and obviously this is revealing that he was the archaeologist that was killed. So now we're like, oh damn, Mark basically got either killed him or got him killed. So it makes sense why she would not like him if she finds out. So he said that she starts talking to him. Once again, they show more of the connection. This episode is showing more of his connection with her and how much she likes him, and basically showing the more similarities and interests they have with each other than her and Mark. And then they get to the area and stuff. They're going through this area and they find like a table. It's like one of those tables where they carve out the person, take out the organs, put it into jars and stuff, and do this stuff for mummification. And usually at this point, since these like tombs, especially this one, was like hadn't been uncovered because they were talking like, well, we're in this area, and he's like, Steven was basically marking out because of it. And so it was weird that there was fresh blood and guts, so it makes no sense. They should have been like 2,000 years older or older than that. So then there's this noise that they hear. He goes up onto the top. He's hiding in the top. She's trying to hide right where the table thing is, and this like mummy creature comes in. He's like this burnt looking blackened mummy creature, puts this guy on there that's hurt and basically guts him. They're both kind of disgusted. They're trying to hide from him. He's going around. She's trying to move to the side so he doesn't see her, but she was like literally right at this place where he was cutting it, so he could have saw her if he like picked up the jar. So she's trying to move around. He's hearing something. He's going around there, and then Mark is standing up, and he hears him, and he jumps up, and he starts like freaking out, which you can't blame him. It's a fucking mummy. Like, dude, like, first of all, this is not something he's used to, which most people wouldn't be. And second of all, it's a goddamn mummy, so it makes sense why he would be scared. So he's terrified, and then the thing's trying to go after her. He's like, get out of here, literally, just run. And then he's trying to go through that other place. She's trying to sneak across the area. This was crazy because the thing grabs her, and usually I don't get scared, but this little jump scare actually got me. It didn't make me like scream or anything, but it did startle me. I was like, oh crap, because he was grabbing her arm, he jumps out, grabs her, pulls her in, she comes in, and like it's like all black and like shadowy. She comes back out, and he keeps on pulling her back in. She fights her way out, beats him up a little, has his arm in his hand. Like, what the fuck? The thing's trying to kill her. She takes off the mask and puts a flare into his mouth, and basically kicks it off and drops it. I think it dies in the bottom. Before I get into further, the beginning of the episode was also quite interesting. Steven was knocked out because he used up a lot of energy doing that. These guys came to try to check on him if he was dead. Layla basically helped him out, saved him. She got like a flare, threw it into there. That's how she got the other flare. She got it, threw it into the thing. The bullets blew off and killed him, which was pretty badass. I'm really liking her character. I like how they're mixing where she's like a normal person, but also badass person. I think those are the best type of characters. She's very well balanced. So she did something like that, and then she basically took out this mummy by herself. Steven is trying to get through there. I think at this point Steven doesn't have the power since he can't hear Khonshu anymore. He's moving throughout the place, He's going through there, and as she's about to leave, she sees Arthur. I forgot what his last name is, but now I know his name. Arthur Harold, yeah, Arthur Harold. She sees him, and then he stops her and he starts to like tell her about what happened with her father, and now we finally get the revelation of what happened. And I'll give you a little bit more of an explanation because the show did do differently than the comics. And like I said, I'm not an expert on Moon Knight, but I do know quite a bit, a decent amount compared to most people, because I did do research because I found him interesting. So he basically reveals to her that what happened was they were excavating this, and then basically Mark was there with another guy, and all the people got executed, and her father got executed. So Mark was a part of it, and he got executed, and he didn't want to tell her because he was afraid to tell her. And he basically, he felt bad and stuff. So that's what the synopsis was right there. She does meet up with him, and he explains more of what happens. So we do find that out. But before that, we have Steven basically getting to the area, and he's going in. He finds this little area where there's some water, and then there's a big sarcophagus. It's a huge one, and he's going up to the sarcophagus, and he's reading it. He's reading like the hieroglyphics, and he sees something that's not Egyptian. It was I think he said Mesopotamian. I think he said that. He checked out and he's like, wait, this is not Egyptian. And I was like, well, then who is it? We found out that this was Alexander the Great. So this is, he's not an Egyptian, he's a Greek. He's a Greek guy, and, obviously, he was with Cleopatra, so he had connections with the Egyptians, but he is not, Egyptian. He's a Greek guy that was there. So I'm pretty sure he's Greek, or is he Roman? I'm pretty sure he's Greek. Yeah. So Alexander basically got in. They mummified him in there, and this is important because they explained in this episode that they're looking for the voice of Ahmed. So basically, a couple of other stuff. I tend to forget some stuff because I did watch this last night and it was kind of late at night. But one thing when they were doing stuff, basically. Mark was drawing the eye of, I think he said, I think it was Osiris. Yeah, the eye of Osiris he drew, which was, the other guy there. And we find out that with this thing in this tomb area, that apparently the previous avatar, or one of the avatars for Osiris, was a pharaoh. So one of the pharaohs was, the avatar for Osiris, which would make sense that, there would be a pharaoh is an avatar, so that makes sense. He explains, intricate detail about the eye, like talking about the six senses, hearing, taste, touch, sight, and all this other stuff, or mind and stuff like that. And he's explaining this to her. She's liking it. You're seeing more and more of her being interested by him because he loves the same thing she loves, so it makes sense why she would like him. He's more gentle and stuff, so she's like, oh, he's more considerate and sweet than Mark. Though I do think Mark cares very deeply. He's like most people, he doesn't really show it very well, which there's nothing wrong with that. And so we had that. Then we had the revelation of Ahmed's voice, and basically somebody who was Ahmed's avatar. And that's why I'm talking about Alexander the Great, because once we lead up to Alexander the Great and stuff, he meets up with, he sees his mummified body, and this is where I'm hoping most people probably didn't realize this, but I forgot if they outright stated or it was just implied. But Alexander the Great was Ahmed's avatar. So that's crazy to think that Alexander the Great not only was entombed in this sarcophagus in this area, but also held the statue of Ahmed. And also, not only was he the voice of, when they say the voice, basically they mean the avatar. So he was the avatar of Ahmed, which is so cool. That's crazy that they're not only bring up an actual historical person, but also making him an avatar. So now we have an Egyptian pharaoh who was an avatar for Osiris, and now we have a Greek, great legend and warrior and, leader, Alexander the Great, who's now also the avatar for Ahmed, which is also crazy. So I thought that was very cool. I like how they wrote that into it. That was very good historically, mythologically about Egyptian culture, and very good, well written story wise. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was very clever that they did that. So he does that, he says, "Oh, where's the statue?" He's like, "Oh, the voice of it." And so I was like, "Oh shit, I know what this means. He's gonna have to reach down that mouth." So he rips open the bandage, breaks the jaw open, shoves his hand down there to reach down into the throat to pull out the statue, which was gross as hell. Normally I'm like, you know what? He's kind of overly reacting, but this time I was like, you know what? That's definitely gross. I would never want to push my hand. I wouldn't even want to touch a mummy because they must smell as much. It's just disgusting. But to fully shove your arm into its mouth, into the throat to pull something out and feel it in its guts, that's gross. But yeah, he pulls this out. He got the thing. Layla finally gets to him and she confronts him. She's like, "Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened." Steven obviously doesn't know what happened. He didn't have anything to do with this. But it's Mark. She's directly talking to Mark. She's pissed, obviously. He comes out, and it's cool the way he changes. So he changes, comes out, and then he starts talking to her, and he's like, no, we gotta go. He wants to like sidestep it. He says he's gonna explain later on, which I think he will, but I think he just also doesn't want to talk about it. But so he wanted to get out of there because Arthur is coming. Arthur Harrow's coming with his like people to kill him. So he's coming, and she's like, no, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. And then he reveals what happens. He said basically he came there with one of his partners, and his partner was basically. They were both mercenaries, but they came there to, basically help out with the excavation and stuff. But his partner was greedy and wanted the stuff to, I guess, sell it. And he kind of lost it and basically executed everybody at night and then executed her father. And Mark didn't do anything. He just brought him there. And then Mark tried to stop him, but he got killed. He got shot and killed. And this is a couple interesting stuff. So yeah, he shot and killed him and he got away. So now we don't know where his partner is. If he's still alive, where he's at, if they're going to bring him into the fold at some point in this series, maybe next season, but they reveal that. So now we find out what Mark's secret was. It was the fact that, the person that he was working with basically got her father killed and all those other people killed. Though he didn't do it himself, he does feel guilty for bringing it, and she does blame him, saying, "Yeah, you didn't kill him, but you did lead a murderer who did it." Which, yeah, I agree. He should. As a mercenary, you should know that some of them are gonna be, they're not benevolent people. So obviously he's gonna have some form of greed because usually they kill for hire. And the fact that he didn't try to check if this guy was good enough to hang around with. So yeah, he didn't kill him or those people, but he technically did lead a murderer to the situation. So it's kind of like, I feel bad for him. It's not his fault and you can't really blame him too much. But then again, you can't be mad at her or feel like she's being, unreasonable because he did lead him to there. So it's like, you can see both their points in that argument. So yeah, he feels bad. He's like, damn. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry for that. And they have to leave, but Arthur catches up to him. He gets all of his guys. They point guns at him. He has no powers. And Mark gets this hatchet thing, and he's holding it. He's like, just stop. You're not gonna beat us. And one of the guard comes up. He grabs the gun, hits him in the face, chops his arm off, which is badass. Then he hits somebody in the chest, killing him, kicks him off. And then another guy tries to shoot him. He throws the hatchet right into his chest, going into his chest, killing him. And it was crazy because Arthur used the guy as a meat shield and threw him away. Which, if he's such a benevolent and caring person, the fact that he used his own people as meat shields, like, well, you're not that great as you think you are. And then he pulls out a gun and he shoots Mark. No talking or anything. He shoots him once. He's backing up. He's like, oh crap. And Layla is hiding. He lied to him, saying, oh, she ran away, but she's hiding. She's like, oh god. Because in the end of the day, even though he did do that, she doesn't want to see him die. Like, she still cares for him. She still thinks of him as her husband. So he got shot, and then he shot him the second time. He falls back to the water. He keeps on going deeper, descending, and turns black and black until there's a kid with a flashlight, and then he's walking with a scientist dude, and it looked like a crappy studio set. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why is there a shitty studio set? And I was so thrown off, and then they showed off, and I was like, wait, is this a show? What the hell's happening? So it has to be a show. And the guy is like an adventure and stuff, and the guy's like, yeah, my name is Steven Grant. And I was like, what? And they back out, and they're in a mental asylum. They're in a psych ward. And you do see this in the trailer when, he's like slapping himself and, going around there. He has like an action figure of Moon Knight, and he drops it. So that happens. And this is the second half of the episode where it's completely different, because now I'm just like, is he dead and he's seeing this in the afterlife? Is he, just thinking this up? Obviously, they're trying to make you think that maybe the whole stuff with Moon Knight is just in his head. Obviously, it's not, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still confusing. The fact that it's like, is this because he's dead? Is this because his mind is messed up? Is he gonna get revived? What's happening? So that, and I was just like, okay, this is interesting. And they're trying to explain through this way, whereas like everything that's happening is just in his head, which would make sense in real life, but it obviously, we know that that's not the case since, you know, this is a comic book show. So yeah, they try to explain a couple things. One, his other persona, Stephen Grant, he got it from watching the show, which or movie, I think, where it was like, you know, this archaeologist dude. So it makes sense why he would have this archaeology knowledge, and also that name. And then we see his boss there. She's also in the mental ward. And then we see also Layla there, and she's just a girl that I guess he likes, and he's basically kind of immobile in a wheelchair, and he has the toy of Moon Knight, which is also, you know, very. It's just there was a ton of, if you guys didn't look carefully, there's a ton of you know, little Easter eggs in there, which I loved. I love the creativity of that. I love this whole scene and the creativity of those. So I thought that was great. I might forget some of that stuff, but it was, yeah. He had the Moon Knight stuff. He tries to run. He sees like, he tries to talk to Steven, but he can't see him in the reflection. He tries to run and he falls, and he has an ankle race. Like he has like a strap on his ankle tied to the wheelchair itself, and this is basically showing that when he tied himself to the bed, that was just basically him in the psych ward. They had to do that to control him. So that, see some girl drawing, and draws a bird with the face of Khonshu on it, which is also pretty interesting. We see the other cast of characters there, some of them, and then he's going around and they're trying to take him. They take him to this office area. He's blurred up, and somebody's talking to him, and it's obviously Arthur. Arthur is he's a psychiatrist there, and he's talking to him, and he's like, you're in a mental hospital, there's no other Stephen Grant and stuff. And he starts talking to him about the movie and how much he likes it. And he's trying to be all nice and stuff. And it shows Arthur, you know, obviously as that, so this is even more of a hint. Then you see his cane. It's just a regular white cane. We see his sandal shoes. We see we see the statue, and it looks like, I think of Ahmed or whatever, or like Khonshu. So it's like, you know, a statue of that. So it's like, oh, this is just, you know, it's just a mental hospital with the psychiatrist, you know, or the main guy in the place, basically just having Egyptian artifacts in his office, which he likes. And then they had these like little ones where they put the organs in, you know, the hearts and stuff. They had that, and it was like supposed to be the representation of the other gods. So they had that. There's a painting of the town that first opened up where, you know, he had his followers. So they had all these interesting stuff. And Mark is like now trying to leave. He's running, and he's like, get away from me, get the hell away from me. He's just talking calm. He's like, I know, if I had these mental problems too, I had all this stuff, and he's trying to, like, you know, communicate with him. He breaks the window. He tries to get out. 2 security guards come after him. He's like, don't hurt him. He's trying to act all cordial, you know, feel like, oh, he's actually a good dude. And he groin shots one of the guys, bites the other woman, runs through the hallway. He starts running. He sees a room. He goes into it, and then there's a sarcophagus in it, and somebody banging. And he opens up the sarcophagus, and Steven comes out. And Mark sees Steven, and I love this because before, whenever they would interact, it was basically through, like, you know, them switching back and forth, talking the head, seeing through like a mirror image. But this time they're actually both physically there, communicating with each other. And this part, it was kind of weird to me, but I also liked once when he got out of there, they both run up and hug each other. Like, oh, Steven, he starts talking to him. It was just like, but didn't you guys kind of have problems with each other? Steven's like, you stay out of my life, Mark. Stop it, Mark. Get out of my life. And then Mark is like, you know, kind of annoyed and kind of getting mad with him. Obviously, he held his composure very well, but he was kind of like, you're kind of getting on my nerves. So the fact that they really hugged each other is just like weird. And it's basically he's hugging himself, but I also kind of liked that. I thought it was sweet. I was like, you know, even though they might fight each other and they might not like each other as much at times, you can see that he does care about him. I'm pretty sure Mark doesn't want to see Steven get hurt, and Steven, even though he doesn't want to go through Mark's stuff, he kind of does feel for Mark and stuff. So seeing them hug each other it was kind of a sweet moment, but it was also kind of weird. So they hug each other, they start talking, and then they have to leave, and they're running and stuff. And there's another room with another sarcophagus standing up, and it's shaking violently, and I'm just like, that's definitely the third persona. I was hoping that they would go into there and open up that sarcophagus. They're like, what the hell is happening here? And, you know, open up and reveal the third guy. Because we've seen Mark, we've seen Steven, and they basically have the two. Oh yeah, before I get into further, I did say I was going to explain the whole, you know, the mercenary killing, you know, Layla's dad, who is the archaeologist. Sorry for that. But yeah, that thing, the thing about that was in the comics, it was completely different. What happened, it was Mark just there, it was not him. Basically, what happened in the comic was the archaeologist was. He was not related to Layla. He was just a bad guy, and he got greedy, and he was basically trying to do all this stuff, and he started killing people. So he got into a fight with him, or no, he wasn't an archaeologist. I think there was like an assassin dude there, and he got greedy. He killed archaeologists, and then he fought Mark. Mark died, and then Mark had to fight him. He died. He beat him, but then he like died, and then he got resurrected by Khonshu. Also, it was interesting because when he revealed this. Layla explains that, and this is kind of like, I guess you could say pretty messed up, but also like, is kind of interesting story point. But he did not know Layla before her dad dying. What happened was he just knew her dad. Her dad died. He felt bad. He went to check up on her daughter. I mean his daughter. You know, the archaeologist's daughter. So he checked up on her. He met with her. This was the first time they met. So he met. The only reason she met him was because he kind of led to her father's death, and he wanted to, you know, he felt bad, so he wanted to like talk to her, and then they end up liking each other and being with each other, which is crazy. So she's like, so the only reason we met and we ended up together is because my father died because of you. So it's also messed up there. But yeah, in the comic book, it's different. It's the archaeologist guy was basically the bad guy. He was not related to anybody. He was not his wife's, you know, dad. He was just a bad guy. He fought and he had to, you know, stop and kill, and he basically died in that. So we had that. We had what happened with his story. So it's kind of similar, but they changed it up for the show, which I don't mind. I think it's fine. Then yeah, going back to that, the sarcophagus, they don't open it up, which I was disappointed. I was like, man, I was really wanting to see this other side. I wanted to know more about him. Maybe we might learn about him more towards the end of this season, or maybe even next season. But I really want to see it. I've seen some people online saying on YouTube and stuff saying like, oh, the third personality is Khonshu. Like, no, Khonshu is not a personality. Khonshu is just the god who, you know, obviously takes over him sometimes, but he knows when he's taking over him. That other side was not somebody that he knew was taking over him. So Khonshu is not a part of, you know, Mark's personalities. Mark's already had these personalities in him before even Khonshu. Khonshu took him in because he had these. So no, he's not like that, or Moon Knight. Moon Knight is just the suit. I don't know why people are acting like that. Like, Moon Knight's not a different character. It's just his suit and his persona when he's like, you know, being the superhero stuff. And the Khonshu is, you know, just his god that sometimes he takes over his body as his avatar. But it's just like, he had this before because when Khonshu's gone, you still have Mark and Steven now. So that just proves that. So the third one are these other personalities are all just, you know, Mark's different personalities. So Steven is another version of him, and then this third person who most likely will be more violent. I think Steven is the pacifist kind of guy. He doesn't want to get into violent acts. He might fight a little, but he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Whereas Mark, he's the kind of guy that's like necessary. He does it when it's necessary. He doesn't overdo it. He doesn't hurt anybody just for no reason. He does it if it's necessary, you know, if he has to take them out. So he doesn't have moral qualms about that. Whereas the other guy, I think he's more unhinged, and he'll be full on out, like he has no morals. He's not like Steven, obviously, and he's more extreme than Mark. Whereas Mark is just doing it because it's necessary. Him, he's just like, I don't care. So I think that's going to be the case with him, which is going to be interesting. But they didn't show, so which that sucked. But this does just prove that whole Khonshu's a third. No, he has another aspect, and that's that one. And then they're running. They open up a door, and this giant hippo goddess comes out, and they both see her, and she's like, hi. And they both start screaming like, ah! You know, of I think was it episode 3 or no, it was episode 2 where Steven is running through the place and he sees Khonshu and then he screams like this, and then they had the freeze frame as like a comedic thing, and then they transition to running. They didn't do the freeze frame this time, but he had the same scream, both him as Mark and as Steven. They're screaming because they're scared. But this was interesting. After this, basically, the episode ended. And I want to talk about this end part because I think this was the most interesting part. For one, who is this goddess? I know some of you might say, well, this is Ammit. But I thought Ammit was an alligator goddess. From when we saw the images on the hieroglyphs, it looked like an alligator. When we saw the statue of her, she looked like an alligator. And when I thought, and he even has like an alligator like staff to represent her. So this is either her or some. Sorry for the jump cut. My count died. I mean, not count died. My it meant my 30-minute time limit. So yeah, basically, like Ahmed was an alligator goddess, whereas this is a hippo goddess. I don't know that much about Egyptian gods mythology. I'll probably research after this video, but I'm pretty sure she's not a hippo goddess. So it makes no. So I don't understand who she is, and what's happening there. I might have a theory, but I don't know officially what's happening there. But yeah, it might not be Ahmed. I have a theory, and I'll go on to that. But yeah, it was this hippo goddess, and it was kind of interesting for a couple reasons. One, it was very funny that they were yelling. Two, she didn't seem very aggressive. She seemed very friendly. The way she's like, "Oh hi," she seemed like kind of, for lack of a better term, she seemed kind of adorable. She was kind of cute. She was like shy. She didn't seem like she was like the aggressive type like Khonshu. She seemed more like, I want to say timid, but less aggressive. God, and this is interesting. It's very interesting that she came in there and stuff. And it's like, we didn't see her before, mention her before. And I did talk in my other video that I want to see the other gods. We've only really seen Khonshu right now. I want to see the other ones, but we have seen this newer one. So yeah, that stuff. Also, she had kind of a Californian accent. She sounded like Valio, which was kind of funny to me. But yeah, that was the end of this episode. I will go on to my theory. I don't think this is Ahmed. Some people might think it's Ahmed, but I don't think it is, because she was an alligator goddess. We've seen it very well. This is probably a different goddess to kind of throw us off. And I think what's happening is, since he does not have since Mark does not have Khonshu, he does not have the powers and abilities, so he cannot be resurrected. So if he dies now, he's dead. So he got shot and he died. He cannot be resurrected by Khonshu. So he should be dead, but he's the main character, so he can't kill him off. So I think this other goddess is probably one of the other seven. Maybe, no. I was gonna think maybe it was Hathor, but she already has an avatar. And also, have you seen if you know anything about Egyptian mythology? I know quite a bit. I do know Hathor she's a cow goddess. So the hippo one, I don't know what she would be, but yeah. So she's not Ahmed. She's probably a separate goddess of her own. And she basically, what happened was, since he lost Khonshu, it was just him now to stop it. Since he got killed, Khonshu can't revive him since he's trapped. So now he's dead and he's dying, and there's nobody that can save him unless if it's another god. Since he's trapped, another god came, so she came in his place, and basically she's going to do the same thing, but now he's going to be her avatar. Obviously, he's not going to be her avatar permanently, but I think he's going to be her avatar for at least a bit. So I think the whole point what was happening is he was dying. This is the whole synopsis in my mind for the theory. What happens is, she's a separate goddess. She probably heard Mark's plea about, hey, we need to stop Arthur Harrold because he's trying to revive Ahmed, and the other gods weren't caring or listening carefully. And she probably wasn't there, and she probably heard it, and she's like, maybe what he's saying is true. Maybe he has a point. And unlike the other gods, they don't care. Maybe she's a more gentle god and more a caring one. So she's like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to investigate to see of what he's saying is true. And seeing, Arthur is blatantly showing like what he's doing, she realizes that, yeah, this guy is what he was saying and what Khonshu was basically, condemning him for, he is doing. And if she's, if Ahmed comes out, all hell will break loose. So she took it upon herself to, hey, maybe I should help him out. If Khonshu can't help him out because, he got in prison for doing the whole night sky thing, maybe I can go to him. And since he was dying, she thought it was a perfect opportunity to be, you know what? I can give you your life back. I'll be your new god or goddess, and you'll be my avatar. So I'll resurrect you again, and I'll help you out with your mission to stop Ahmed, because I trust I believe in you and what you're trying to do, and I trust your stuff, and I want to help you out because you seem like a good person. I think this goddess is going to be a good like a benevolent goddess. And I know I'm probably just looking into it too much, but from the way she talked, like she introduced herself like, hi, she seemed very like nice. So I have a feeling she's a nice goddess, and she saw the threat, whereas the other ones are too stuck up and like, no, we don't care. She's probably like, yeah, I agree, and I saw, and you don't have your you don't have your god to resurrect you, and also you can't do this on your own. You need our help. So if the other guy's not going to help, I'm going to take it upon myself to make you my new avatar since he's not there. So I'm pretty sure what's gonna happen in the next episode is they're gonna be scared. They're gonna probably run away. She's gonna stop it and like, hey, don't be scared. I'm not here against you. I was there, or I heard about what happened, and I know the other gods didn't trust you or don't care enough about humanity. But for me, I do care about them. I think of them as my children and stuff, and I want to protect you guys. And I saw your pleading, and now the conscience taken away. And you're dying. You can't really do anything. So I want to give you the chance to be resurrected again. But you'll be my avatar. You'll be my avatar. You'll be resurrected. I'll help you out. I'll give you, new powers so you can handle, Arthur and stop him from summoning, Ahmed, or at least, being able to handle her and take her down. So I'm gonna help you out. I'm not a bad guy and stuff. So I think that's where it's going. I think she's gonna help out. I think she's a good one. I don't think she's bad. I think they might be scared first, but they'll realize. So a couple things I want to find out is 1, who is this goddess? 2, what is her abilities? 3, more about her personality. 4, I want to see if his costume changes, because do they have different costumes for the stuff? So I want to see if he, uses her power, what it's going to look like. If she gives him additional powers, I want to see that, how they get out of this place, how they go on moving on forward and, releasing Khonshu back and stuff. Or if they even do it because, Khonshu's kind of a douche. But yeah, doing all this stuff and handling Arthur Harrold and her helping him out. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. Adding her into it, I thought was very clever, and it makes more sense on how he can get up and revived. And also, I just love the aspect of the whole, psych ward to make him think he's crazy. Obviously, he's not, because the whole sarcophagus stuff and Mark. I also love that him and Mark are there. I want to see Mark and Steven, interact more. I think that would be crazy. So, yeah, I think that's very good. The entire episode as a whole was enjoyable. I just think the last half was the most enjoyable part of the episode, because the first half had some interesting stuff, but the last half just went crazy with the whole sarcophagus stuff, all that stuff. I love it. So it's gonna be amazing. Next episode, there's still gonna be some stuff where the psych ward, I don't think they're gonna officially get out of it, because we do see in the trailer where Arthur is basically talking to him, and I think Mark is trying to explain something. He's trying to get out, and he just can't handle it. He's just having a mental breakdown. He starts slapping himself like, what the hell's wrong? And he wants to get out. So we're going to be seeing that. I think for the first half of that episode is him being there trying to get out, him making the deal with her, getting out, and then trying to, stop Arthur and, prevent it. Because that's episode 5, trying to prevent it. And then episode 6 will be just the whole fight, trying to prevent him, and then beating him, which is going to be interesting. I got to say, though this season is short, like most shows nowadays, especially on streaming services, it is still enjoyable. It's enjoyable. I really like it. I don't want to give my full feeling towards the show, but for right now, for what I'm seeing from episode 1, 2, and 3, and 4, they're all great. They have different stuff that's great about them to different levels, but I think they're all great and amazing. I love it. And before I close off, I do want to say this. I hope with this show and with this attention it's bringing, it rises up more popularity for Moon Knight, and it makes Moon Knight more of a household staple of a character, like how Iron Man or Guardians of the Galaxy have become. I want him to be those type of characters, because I think he's very interesting and very in depth, especially with the whole mental struggle aspect. I really like that too. I think that's very great, and it just helps out for mental health awareness and stuff. So it's just an all around great character. Just great stuff about him. I really love him, and I think he's one of those underrated characters that deserves the praises and deserves to have some notoriety for his character and how he's written. People compare him to Batman, but he's different, and I think he's a far more interesting character than Batman. Even though I love Batman, he's somebody that I know more. I'm going based off of pure writing and pure creativity, and he's far better written, far more creative. So I love Moon Knight. Hopefully, by the end of this season, this blows up his popularity and puts him into stardom and making him a household name. That's the thing that I want the most. And I'm kind of excited for the rest of their Marvel projects with Punisher and Daredevil. So yeah, I'm very optimistic with the future of Moon Knight and the Marvel series. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for tomorrow.